Hi everyone, my name is Maddy, and today I'm here with Matt Barany, the head swim and dive coach at UR, and we're here to talk a little bit about sleep hygiene. So if you don't mind, Matt, introducing yourself and telling us a little about what you do.
Hi, Maddie. I am the head coach of the swim and dive program. Um, as you know, I work primarily with the swimmers. I'm finishing up my 15th year at the university, but what we've done in the last four seasons is we have tried to understand what the day-to-day load looks like for our athletes on campus, and then we've also tried to create a playbook or a plan to help the athletes and the students mitigate their day-to-day load by really doing a great job with rest and recovery. Um, we don't really we don't really call it either of those. We frame everything under the umbrella of optimal health, and is trying to achieve optimal health, primarily because even now in this time where we're all home, and it doesn't matter our age, it doesn't matter what we're doing, we're all trying to maintain optimal health. And well beyond graduation, I hope that's something that you're doing, and everybody takes it seriously.
Okay, so my first question is just about establishing a routine, a sleep routine, and especially with everything that's going on right now, it can be difficult to fall into a good routine. So do you have any tips for that?
Well, I think, as you know, we've really talked as a team about our nighttime routines. I think one of the things to consider is that we talk a lot about our nighttime routines because we can't always control. uh, our morning routines are predetermined because of practice, or because another student might have a class, or some people might have to get up and go to work. So I never really felt like we had a lot of room to work with our morning routines. I think right now, I think that's the biggest part of it for everybody. Wake up in the morning at the same time, and if you can, try to get as much daylight as you can early in the morning. um, that matches our hormonal response with our melatonin and things like that. But I think ideally right now, if we can create a day-to-day routine that includes waking at the same time and starting off with similar rituals day to day, I think that gets us off to a good start. Getting sunlight in the morning obviously benefits our circadian rhythm. And then, when we start to think, so getting up at the same time, eating meals at the same time each day, um, and then obviously our nighttime routine. And we've focused a lot on the nighttime routine, and there's a lot of factors to consider when you do that. When was your last meal? Are you going to bed well hydrated? What is your wind down routine? And I know, as varsity athletes, we like to think that our wind down routine might be a stretch, or a small meditation, or something like that, to really help the physical rejuvenation. And then staying away from technology at night, and really trying to focus on reading from a book and not from our devices. And we as we've availed the Headspace app. So, excuse me, can you please turn it down? Thank you. We've allowed the students access to the Headspace app, and ideally, and it looked like some of the statistics that we got back was that was most often used in the evening, and that's kind of what we want. We don't want people scrolling through Instagram and trying to catch up on social media. And even right now, the news. I mean, the news is just it creates anxiety for everybody.
Yeah. Okay. So another question, I'm sure a lot of people are having trouble getting to sleep and want a little bit more knowledge on how to get to sleep faster, if you have any tips on that.
Or don't nap.
Yeah.
If or don't sleep in late, right? So there is a chemical that builds up in our brain called adenosine, and if you relieve that buildup, if you relieve that buildup during the day with a nap, then
Mhm.
obviously there isn't a natural buildup in the evening. So that might delay our sleep onset. So I think if we're struggling at night, I again would come back to what's our morning routine right now.
Yeah.
I think the saving grace, and I'm obviously still in Richmond. I think the saving grace for a lot of us right now is that the weather is mild.
Mhm.
It's not in the heat of the summer or the dead of the winter. And if we can wake up and be outside early, that helps us get up and get moving, and that helps our circadian rhythm. One of the things that we also focus on is our chronotype, and everybody has a different chronotype. So are you an early bird, which means are you more alert in the morning, or are you more alert in the evening? And sorry, my helper just photobombed. So, and I think you need to understand what your chronotype is. And if you are, if you're a night owl, you might be going to bed later than somebody who's an early bird. But ultimately, if you're struggling to sleep right now, I'd say avoid naps, get on a morning routine, and eat your meals at the same time each day, and see if that routine doesn't help at night. And then the big one, it would be to avoid technology. Replace technology with a book or a meditation or just a deep breathe.
Mhm. Awesome. So like the last question I have is just what you've done with Whoop and what you think is the biggest thing you've learned throughout the process.
So, just very briefly, so you mentioned the team has worn a Whoop strap for 4 years. The athletes can opt into wearing it. I've also worn some other devices, so I've been able to track the efficiency of some other devices. Whoop has done a really good job with measuring sleep duration. I think any device that anybody's wearing right now, once you get past sleep duration, you start to look at quality of sleep, so the stages of sleep. No device is really doing that well right now. Whoop did have a paper that was accepted, and looks like they're going to have there will be some type of publication that comes out that their accuracy with sleep duration is pretty impressive. There are other devices that are measuring heart rate and things like that, also at a very impressive clip. But the thing that we've learned from Whoop is that we can see that wearable technology will modify behavior, but we also need to do our part. And our part 2 years ago, we did some significant shifts in the way we practice and the way we view the entire week. And what we saw from that is our sleep duration went up 29 minutes, and that's a significant amount on a college campus. And even from that, I think we've probably gone up another 20 minutes since then. And so, we think that, the wearable technology is helpful in understanding this stuff, but also it inspired us to make some systemic changes to the way we do things. And I think that's an important piece. And, I ultimately think, if we frame it with optimal health, it's not about swimming faster or being a better athlete. It's more about brain function. It's more about balancing mental health. And right now, with immunity, immunity is connected with to sleep. And if you're sleep deprived right now, your T cells are not going to be motivated to fight any infection in your body, and that's not what we want right now. I think it would be ideal if we could have a well-rested society to fight whatever we need to fight, and to have the mental balance to endure the isolation and the anxiety and the guesswork of, is this infection, is this disease going to hit me, my family, our friends, things like that. And it's a tough time for all of us.